Okay, we're going to learn how to use the type tool. I also call it a text tool. But before we start, I'm going to show you what you can do when you need to create other type treatments. The text tool, as well as quite a few of these tools on the toolbox, have additional tools. And how you get those additional tools is that you just click on the tool momentarily for about 2-3 seconds. Out will pop a little set of additional tools. Sometimes I call them sub-tools. That might not be the right word, but I'm going to call them sub-tools. And if you pull at the very end, you can create your own little set of sub-tools. The two tools that I'm going to be working today with will be the regular text tool right here, as well as this third one here called the Type on a Path tool. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my text tool over to the page. I'm going to click one time. First of all, this little thing that you see right here is known as an I-beam. If I click one time, you're going to see this blinking line. That is known as a cursor. So I'll go ahead and type in my type. And what you'll notice is there's like a little blue bounding box around your type. Where the type sets is known as a baseline. And so the type, any of the text that you type will be in this bounding box. That gives you the ability to reduce the type if you want to, or enlarge the type. You just need to go to one of the corners. I prefer using either this corner here, this corner, or that corner to reduce and enlarge the type. If you hold your Shift key down, you will get your type in proportion. It's like you're reducing it and or enlarging it. Okay? All right. So the other really neat little tool is if you move your pointer to the corners, you will also see a little switching tool. What that gives you, or what that lets you do, is it allows you to rotate the type. Okay, so you can rotate the type at any angle. If you go to the side handles, you can flip the type around like this, which is basically flipping it horizontal. Or you can make it go upside down, like so, depending upon which handle you use, as you can see. All right, so there are a couple of features that you can use when you are manipulating type. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to kern your type. Kerning is very basically a technique that graphic designers and typographers use to clean up the type. You can see a big space here. This is known as the tracking, and it doesn't look that attractive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cursor, and I'm going to click one time, and you see the cursor there. I'm going to hold my Option key down and use my west pointer or my left pointer, and I can kern the type to make it look much more comfortable and much more unified. Okay, and I'm kerning up the Y and the P, and I'll go ahead and kern up the E as well. Now the type looks a little bit cleaner. It's tighter set. It's much more comfortable. Okay, that's one of the main type techniques known as kerning. You can also kern this way by highlighting your type, the whole thing, and you can hold your Option key down once again with the left pointer, and you can kern all together. You can also kern them to where you can make the type kind of intersect each other. So if you're trying to achieve some type of type treatment where you need to intersect the letters, you can go ahead and do that. A common one is, like, for instance, you might have the word look. A lot of designers will do this. They will take the two O's and kind of marry them together to get a interesting type treatment. So that's one of the cool things about Adobe Illustrator, is that you can intersect typography. You can do all kinds of very interesting things with Adobe Illustrator. It's an outstanding type tool. So I'm just going to go back a little bit here and get back to where we were before. Okay, now another thing is that if you want to start working and massaging the type and kind of creating a logo type or a type treatment, what you have to do is you have to convert your type to a path, which makes it a vector outline. First of all, this type here is editable. We can continue to add to it. For instance, if I want to put an S on there, I can continue to very basically edit the type. Once you convert your type into a path by selecting it, and for you Mac users, Command-Shift-O, once you convert it into a path, you will see these little tiny blue pixels. Those are known as handles. They're very basically the same as these type of handles on the corners and on the sides. They help you manipulate the type if that's what you desire to do. Okay, another thing that you can do, once it's converted to a path, you can ungroup the type by doing a Command-Shift-G, and now we can go ahead and move the type or the letters independently to try to create some type of type treatment, or if you're creating a logo type and you want a very interesting configuration or positioning of the type, you can do that when you ungroup the type. Okay? All right, so that is one thing that graphic designers do quite a bit, is converting their type to a path and then manipulating the letters individually. Okay, now the next thing we're going to learn is how to create a text box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to the type tool. I'm going to click one time, and then with my I-beam I'm going to click drag, and I'm going to create a text box. Now once you create a text box, you can go ahead and type your type in just this width and depth. So if I just go ahead and put some letters in there, you will see that it is confined to this text box only. Okay, and it will stay within this wireframed text box configuration. If you need to manipulate it, you can by just dragging it downward to give you more an area for more text to go. If you tighten it up this way, it will allow you to condense or to shorten your text box. All right. If you go here and pull it, same thing. Okay, so that's a unique attribute that Adobe Illustrator has. You can go ahead and set copy in columns, or you can very basically, just like I did up here, click one time and start setting your type. And once you do that, like I said, I'll set type again. Once you do that, then you'll have just a bounding box around the type like so. And once you set it up in this configuration, you can enlarge the type, you can expand the type, you can condense the type. Okay, so those are two distinct ways of setting type in Adobe Illustrator. All right. Okay, well let's go ahead and delete this, and let's go ahead now and use the type on a path tool. We need to get a path, so we're going to go ahead and get a circle. We'll use the shapes tool, and I'll do the same thing. I'll go ahead and hold on to the tool for 2 seconds and pull out a set of subtools, and I will use the circle. So I'm going to hold my shift key down like so, And I'm going to make the circle a line of black with a fill of none, as you can see over here on the swatches. Now I'm going to go back to the subtools, and I'm going to select this tool, the Type on Path tool, click it one time, and I'm going to move its I-beam over to the circle, and I'm going to get right on the circle, because my goal is to have my type wrap around a path. And let's go ahead and go to it. So I'm going to click one time, and what happens is that the line of black, or the stroke of black, disappears, and now we're just using the shape to set our type. So I will go ahead and type in a word. As you can see, that it is actually wrapping around the circle. Okay, and another cool thing is that you can highlight the type. If the typeface is too small, you can always enlarge the type. And one thing that's very important is to bring up the type attribute. I will do a Command T for you Mac people, and here's the type palette. Now here you can change the typeface. And the neat thing about the typeface here in Adobe Illustrator is that you can actually see the different typefaces. So it actually shows you the letter form and what it looks like. Okay, so I'll go ahead and use Gill Sans Ultra Bold, and you can see that it changes. And I'm going to go ahead and enlarge the point size. Right now it's 24 point. I think I'll go up to about 72 point, and you'll see the type enlarge by hitting Enter, and there you go. Okay, that was just about right. Another thing that you can do with the text tool, if you click one time, you will notice that there is a little line here. You can adjust the type to move, which is a nice little feature. Also, you can put the type inside of your circle or on the outside. Very neat feature in Adobe Illustrator. Great program for working with typography. Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you for watching.